20 years ago, my older brother revealed a truth that turned my world upside down. I was just a boy then, oblivious to the weight of the secrets my family held. But learning about my father's hidden pain left an ache in my heart that lingers even now. In the stillness of night, he visits my dreams, his weary eyes brimming with unspoken love and regret, a quiet echo of the scars he carried. Our family ran a small diner at the edge of a lively street market. My parents worked tirelessly, ladling steaming bowls of soup to make ends meet. But home was no refuge. When my father stumbled in drunk, the air grew heavy, like the tense pause before a storm breaks. One evening, I was in the kitchen, peeling potatoes beside my mom, when the front door slammed. My father lurched in, his eyes red and glazed from liquor. My mom instinctively shrank back, gently pushing me toward the corner. His voice cut through the room like a knife. "Get out here." I ducked behind the wall, my heart racing so loudly I feared he'd hear it. When his gaze found me, he grabbed my wrist, his grip tight and unyielding. "You're just as guilty," he bellowed. I was a frightened child, trembling as I fought back tears. That night, I huddled in my tiny room, pulling the blanket over my head to drown out the echoes of his anger. Those nights became a grim pattern, and I grew numb to the fear. Yet my mom changed. Despite my father's rage, she began caring for him with a quiet, almost desperate tenderness. One day, I caught her marking dates on an old calendar with a red pen, her hands trembling as if tracing something sacred. "Mom, what's that?" I asked. She gave a strained smile. "Just keeping track of days." But that smile veiled a flicker of fear even a kid like me could sense. The night before my father's accident, our house felt unnaturally still. Rain pattered against the windows, and my father slouched on the couch, his face etched with a weariness I hadn't seen before. Lately, he'd grown quieter, as if an invisible burden weighed on his soul. The TV cast a dim glow across his features as he murmured, "Is this really how I'm meant to live?" Those words cracked open a window into a man grappling with his demons. My mom watched him, her eyes clouded with worry. "Don't go out tonight," she urged softly. "The rain's too heavy." He shook his head. "I'll be fine. I can handle it." Before leaving, he checked his motorcycle with a strange care, running his hands over its frame as if memorizing it. Then, just before pulling on his helmet, he turned to me and said, "Take care, son." His voice held a quiet finality, a farewell he couldn't fully speak. That night, he drank more than usual. Slumped on the couch, he whispered, "You kids need to make it without me." I thought it was just the liquor talking, but now I know he was letting go of everything. Hours passed and my father didn't return. The rain fell harder and a knot of dread tightened in my chest. My mom paced, dialing his number again and again, but the phone rang into silence. My brother, twisting his hands, whispered, "He's okay, right?" I couldn't answer. I just stared at the rain streaking down the window, each drop mirroring my growing fear. Then the call came. A cold, clinical voice from the hospital broke our world apart. My father had died in a motorcycle crash on that rain-slicked road. Silence smothered our home. But what struck me most was the look on my mom and brother's faces. Not just grief, but a strange relief, as if an unbearable weight had finally lifted. As a child, I couldn't understand it. Only years later would the truth come to light. Time marched on. I grew up, served in the military, and lost my mom to illness. One night, my brother and I sat over a bottle of whiskey, sifting through memories. That's when he dropped a shattering truth. The night before Dad's accident, he said, his voice unsteady, I overheard him talking to Mom, his words low and heavy, like he'd already made a choice. He told me my father had said, when I'm gone, use the money to raise the kids right. Those words struck me like a blow. My brother believed the crash wasn't an accident, that our father had planned it, hoping the insurance money would give us a better life. He wanted us to be free, my brother said, his eyes wet with tears, but his choice was so extreme. That revelation unraveled me. The anger I'd held for my father's violence melted into a deep, aching sorrow. His pain, his sacrifice, it was all for us. Now, in my mid-40s, I'm a father myself. When I hear my children's laughter, I see my dad's face. In my dreams, he still appears, his eyes heavy with love and regret. I long to tell him, Dad, we're okay now. You can rest. This is more than a story of loss. It's about a man who bore unbearable pain and made an unthinkable choice to give his family a chance at a better life. His sacrifice was his final gift, wrapped in scars and love. I hope my father's story lingers in your heart as it does in mine.